very COVID impacted. In the meantime, send us your comments, your views. It's been a very busy week. 054-998-6996. Help us set the agenda for the day. A couple of things we'll do today. Citi Business News follows the newspaper review. Then we have a very interesting interview on the Citi Business edition. So a few years ago, we spoke to a gentleman who was starting a small company using coconut waste into charcoal. Today, he has the biggest factory of its kind in West Africa. How did he do it? The Citi Business edition will tell you more about this fascinating story of Amin Sule. Kojo Boate interviews Amin Sule, the CEO of Zarcoal, not charcoal, Zarcoal. Brilliant story. It is possible in this country. My name is Bernard Avle. I'm here with Nathan Kwao, aka Where is the Ambassador?
Cue music.
Yeah, man. And of course, Godfred Akutubuafo.
Yeah.
One day I'll tell you the secret to Where is the Ambassador. But for now, we'll leave it like that. Okay, where is the Ambassador? Where is the Ambassador?
Our time is coming.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get into the papers. Why are you on the obituary page? Why do you always open the obituary page when you take the Daily Graphic?
Bernard, when I was young, it was one of the pages I used to read.
For what?
I don't know, I just liked it. And then, there's a paper called Pania.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one too had a lot of obituaries.
Well, when I go there, I'm looking to look at the children, whether they are in America or in Ghana. So I want to know how many children the person has.
I also have a friend who
and
does
which countries they are in
for his weekend activities.
As in reading obituaries.
He checks which funeral is in the neighborhood, and he also checks which children are in the US and things.
Hey.
So around 9 a.m. he puts two different cloths in his car.
As in going to uninvited funerals.
Yes, he goes to uninvited funerals.
Then he has time.
Anyway, let me take you to. I will not take you to the front page of.
You start with the back page.
I will start with the back page, Bernard, where the Western region has run out of reagents for COVID-19 testing. 3,743 samples in freezer for 3 months.
Are you serious?
Yes, I will tell you about it later.
Wow.
On the front page is errant parties to miss 2020 polls. That's according to the EC. Banks alert to protect depositors' funds from hackers, according to Mr. Al-Hassan Andani. And Interpol chases 2 over Airbus scandal.
The Ghanaian Times says Airbus bribery saga. Interpol declares Samuel Mahama 3 others fugitives. Orders their arrest. Accra girls SHS undergoes disinfection as GES promises to protect all children against COVID-19. Schools must close down based on science and medical evidence, CRI, and driver's mate to die by hanging. Plus, 2 policemen drown while pursuing armed robbers.
Front page of the Daily Statesman has more encouraging news from the COVID situation, Bernard. 1,800 health workers recover from COVID-19 as total recoveries hit 22,270. Supreme Court, birth certificates not enough proof of citizenship. Interpol chases Mahama over €3 million Airbus bribe. It comes with a photo of the former President John Dramani Mahama.
The Finder says 3.9 million Airbus SE bribery scandal. Interpol chases Samuel A. Mahama, brother of ex-President Mahama, 3 others. All our BVR kits are new. EC, COVID-19, 2,065 health workers infected, and second phase of market disinfection starts Sunday.
Front page of the Daily Guide also goes with the Airbus Interpol arrest warrant. Comes with photos of Leanne Sarah Davis, Sarah Furneaux, Philip Sean Middlemas, and Samuel Adam Foster. 2 cops drowned chasing Galamsey robbers, and COVID-19 fund spends 32 million Ghana cedis.
The Chronicle says Airbus scandal. Interpol hunts Adam Mahama over alleged €3.9 million bribe payment to Ghanaian officials. 2 policemen drowned in Odan River while chasing armed robbers. And NDC failed to satisfy us. That's the Supreme Court speaking.
The Herald has a different version of the Interpol story. It says Interpol arrest warrant in Airbus bribery case faked. Documents traced to Ghana Police CID. Kufuor flagged Napo's Trasako house over suspicion is the question they are asking, and Banda Traditional Council angry at MPP blames party for deadly disturbances.
The Ghanaian Observer says Airbus saga. Interpol issues arrest warrant for Mahama, 3 others. Reported COVID-19 cases in some schools. Greater Accra GES boss assures parents of wards' safety. Baumia rescues 80-year-old leper, and Akimodan's seat is done deal for NPP. That's the parliamentary candidates there.
Front page of the BNFT finally from me, Bernard. 1,000 megawatt wind power project halted. Government freeze on new IPP deals. Delay production of cheaper and cleaner energy.
Then
COVID-19 should expedite new oil refinery plan and government expansionary policy. Investor sentiments to stay policy rate.
The Airbus saga is also on the front page of the New Weekend Crusading Guide. Plus other stories. Chief Imam endorses Adonko non-alcoholic energy drink.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Who? Chief Imam?
Yes.
Hey.
Professor Francis Dodu awarded prestigious British Academy Global Professorship to join Oxford. A nationwide disinfection exercise. Phase 2 begins Sunday.
Moving to citynewsroom.com, a lot of conversation about the red alert for Mohammed's arrest. Intim Fojo says this red alert is in the right direction, but NDC lawyer says it's a PR gimmick. Also, SLS directive for reduction of GBC channels, oppression of the media. This is Tarzan. And former PNC MP David Apasera declares presidential ambition. Also, Christian Council raises alarm over 4 demonic forces in Ghana's politics. And 7 students who tested positive for COVID-19 recover from, this is Accra girls, so that's a good one there. Meanwhile, pubs and nightclubs hit by COVID-19 restrictions lament losses. Airport company MD slum workers protest over proposed partnership, and stakeholders call for inclusion of relevant groups in drafting agri-sector policies. We go to majonline.com. Interpol issues arrest warrants for Samuel Adam Mahama over his role in Airbus bribery scandal. Also, Rawlings congratulates Nana Opoku Ajiman. And students of Panda SHS attack police commander and then flee from campus. Meanwhile, 2,065 frontline health workers infected with COVID-19. You have the story of the recoveries. My journal has the story of the infections. If you go to Star News, court charges 23-year-old KNUSC dropout with murder. Also, Interpol issues arrest warrant for Adam Mahama. And full Supreme Court judgment on birth certificate absurd, according to the minority. Ghana News Agency, Dan Adams Pharmaceuticals donates to Ghana News Agency. Biometric voter registration kits are brand new, according to the EC. And the Supreme Court decision on NDC EC case is ready. It's getting some traction. I have a couple of stories in Nigeria that I thought would interest you.
Tell me.
Abuja hospitals are rejecting patients over COVID-19 fears. And then there's one here I found very interesting. Nigeria refines its own gold and starts stockpiling its reserve.
Yeah, it's something they had been considering for some time.
In East Africa, they are talking about South Sudan peace building on track. There are stories around that country, and then there's many kinds of analysis on 9 years on South Sudanese hope for freedom. That country is still not free. Now, globally, in terms of BBC and all those places, India passes 1 million virus cases as Brazil hits 2 million. This is what both CNN and BBC are leading with. India passes 1 million. Brazil hits 2 million. Meanwhile, FBI say they're investigating major Twitter hack, the one you talked to me about yesterday. Let's start with, I think you start with the COVID back page.
Yes, let me go
and
to
then we'll talk about some recoveries and things like that.
Yes, it's a mixed bag today on the COVID front, but I'll start from the Western region, where Doche Kobla Klobotu reports that the Western Regional Testing Center for COVID-19 has run out of reagents and other testing logistics, leaving some 3,743 samples collected for COVID-19 testing unattended to. Some of the samples are as old as 3 months and have become mere decoration in the storage system of the Fion-Kwanta Regional Hospital.
Wow.
The storage facility at the hospital is said to have become full and unable to receive new samples for storage. Consequently, directives have been given to the districts to store samples collected in those areas until the situation improves. A source told the Daily Graphic that some of the samples had gone bad and had been thrown away. Some health professionals in the region expressed fear that the fight against the disease might run into serious trouble if efforts were not made to address the challenges. Meanwhile, a top health official told the Daily Graphic that other testing centers, particularly the major ones, were so burdened with their own huge numbers of samples for testing that they had been reluctant to receive samples from the Western region ever since the VSD commenced COVID-19 testing in the region, and further indicated that the districts in the region had been asked to create isolation centers at their own levels as support for the inadequate isolation spaces in the regional capital. Now, if you go to page 21 of the paper, more frontline health workers recover from COVID-19. 2016.
Okay.
More than 50% of frontline health workers who contracted the coronavirus have recovered, the Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Kumar Boaji, has said. He said out of the 2,065 workers who were infected, 1,870 had recovered, adding that some of them had returned to work as of yesterday, July 16, 2020.
It will be interesting to hear what was said at the press briefing yesterday on the case management and also on the testing issues, because that was one of the big questions we asked. I don't know whether that story has the details.
Well, Dr. Kumar Boaji has described the recovery rate as encouraging.
Okay.
And said after weeks of having numbers hovering around 600, the figure of new recorded cases had begun to drop. And then also, if you go to page 20, your children are safe. GES assures parents of final year senior high school students. And Zoom Lion disinfected Accra Girls School yesterday.
All right, let me give you more on Accra Girls. 7 students who tested positive for COVID-19 have recovered. This is citinewsroom.com. 7 students out of the 56 persons in Accra Girls Senior High School who tested positive for novel coronavirus have recovered and have been discharged. About 2 weeks ago, it was reported that the 6 students from the school had tested positive for the disease. After mass testing exercise was done by the GHS, 55 people tested positive out of the 314 tests done. They were sent to treatment centers to be attended to. Now, we are told that 7 of the girls recovered and they were released yesterday to go back to their final recovery. Then still on Accra schools, 62 cases so far recorded in 7 schools in Accra. According to the Education Directorate, this story is also on citinewsroom.com. It says 7 schools in the Greater Accra region have recorded 62 cases in total of COVID-19. The Greater Accra Regional Director of Health, Monica Ankra, who spoke to the media during a disinfection exercise at Accra Girls yesterday, indicated that more is being done to reduce the rate of infections in the schools. And then she gave some details about the situation. She says 55 people, including students, tested positive for the case at Accra Girls, and then the breakdown was given. But in this particular interview, she didn't mention the names of the schools, probably for fear of panic. Coordinator of the disinfection, Ebenezer Adai, said the exercise is to make the school environment safe for teaching and learning activities.
Well, talking about schools, Child Rights International is saying that the schools must be closed down based on science and medical evidence. Now, that's coming from the executive director of that group, Mr. Brighter Peer, and he said that in a statement issued yesterday. And he said since it had not been proven yet that the students contracted the disease on school campuses or their homes, the only reason that must determine the closure must be through scientific data. Now, he said that there was a need to study daily updates and reports on the behavior of COVID-19 among children, and understanding the pattern would inform the policy direction and also let government know how serious the consequences are for children.
Just finally on this, the General Service also announced that we have 695 new cases. Total case count 26,125. And we are told that 22,270 have recovered. Death toll is still 139. 8 in critical condition, 4 on ventilator, 25 are severe. Greater Accra 14,391, Ashanti 5,482. Let's move to something else.
Okay, so we have elections and then we have Interpol.
Let's do this Interpol bribery
Okay,
matters.
let me do the Interpol.
It's everywhere.
Well, there are 2 versions of the
So
story.
there are so many versions.
Okay, let me give you Daily Guide and
Depending on
Herald.
the paper.
Okay, Nathan, you can start from the Times and then I'll give you the Herald version.
So that's on page 12 of the Ghanaian Times, and it says Interpol declares Samuel Mahama, 3 others fugitives. Now, Interpol has declared Samuel Adam Mahama, Sarah Fulno, Sarah Leanne Davis, and Philip Sean Middlemiss as fugitives wanted for prosecution from their involvement in the payment of 3.5 million euros as bribe from Airbus SE to some key Ghanaian public officials. The payments were made between 2009 and 2015. Mr. Mahama has been charged with, quote, accepting a bribe to influence a public officer, end quote, and, quote, acting in collaboration with the public officer for the public officer's private profit as set out in sections 179C subsection B, 179D and 252 subsection 1 of the Criminal Offences Act. Philip Sean Middlemiss, a UK TV actor and film director, is also facing charges of accepting a bribe to influence a public officer and acting in collaboration with the public officer for the public officer's private benefit. Now it goes on to list all what the other people have done, and it gives a background of the investigations and all of that.
The Herald is doubting the Interpol arrest warrant, and on page 3 it says that the Akufo-Addo government has been caught using the Ghana Police CID in the name of the International Police Interpol to generate another sensational headline over the alleged Airbus bribery scandal, in which one Samuel Adam Foster, said to be a brother of ex-President John Mahama, has been mentioned. According to the paper, the red alert was not on the website of Interpol as is its normal practice, and others, including the Director of Communications for the NDC, Sami Jemfi, believe the red alert was forged by the government to either embarrass ex-President Mahama or divert attention. Now, according to the Herald, they have conducted 2 searches on the subject matter using the first name, family name, and aliases of the said Samuel Mahama on the website, which drew a blank. The first search showed that out of a total number of 7,306 public red notices in circulation, there are no results on Foster Samuel Adams, aged between 56 and 57.
Well, Eyewitness News interviewed Mr. Gordon Tamaklo of the NDC, who says the alert is a PR gimmick, but in Tim Fojo of the MPP says it's in the right direction. So maybe we have to also do our search to see if any such thing exists. Now, let's still continue with politics. But
okay, the EC is busy.
Yes, let's go to the EC. They've been denying claims that their BVRs are old, and there are some questions that came around a couple of days ago about whether EC was using new biometric verification devices or not. EC has sought to react to that. That story is on the GNA's website. All biometric. Okay, let's take your Finder version then.
Okay, so the Electoral Commission says the biometric voter registration kits currently being used for the ongoing registration exercise are new. It says that speculation that the Commission is currently using obsolete machines for the ongoing exercise are false. Quote, the EC, however, wishes to state on authority that the assertion by these individuals that 40% of the BVR kits being used are old kits is an outright lie. For the avoidance of doubt, all kits currently in use for the registration exercise are brand new. There is not a single old obsolete kit in the field. That's according to a statement.
What about the Supreme Court ruling on
yes,
birth
I'm getting
certificates?
to that. Just give me a second. Let me tell you about what the EC has been saying about political parties and their activities on the front page of the Daily Graphic. Now, the Electoral Commission has sounded the warning that it will strictly apply the law to ensure that only qualified political parties participate in the general election on December 7, 2020. They said it was unbecoming of political parties which wanted to seek the mandate of the citizenry and run the affairs of the state to disregard the laws that guided their operations. Now, with 5 months, the December 7, 2020 election, only 7 out of 28 political parties have submitted their 2019 audited accounts to the EC. The story also goes on to make reference to the absence of some of the parties from the national and district
Did
level.
he give us any names of parties that have not complied?
Yes. The only parties that have complied are the MPP, NDC, the PPP, the UPP, and the Great Consolidated Party, and then the PNC as well, and the Liberal Party of Ghana.
Okay, speaking of PNC, quickly, David Apasera says he wants to be president on the ticket of the PNC.
Okay.
He's a former member of Parliament for Bolgatanga Central. He has declared his intention to contest for the presidential slot of the December 2020 polls. He will contest on the ticket of the PNC. He says he wants to change the dwindling fortunes of the party. This party got about a sizable percentage in the 92 election, but their fortunes have dwindled ever since. Now, he was talking to Citi News after what he calls an extensive consultation with party stalwarts and family, saying he's ready to lead the PNC to victory. We wish him well. Godfred.
Yes, let me tell you about the birth certificate matter on page 6 of the Daily Guide. The Supreme Court has declared that a birth certificate cannot be used as a form of identification to establish the identity of the bearer. The court, in a unanimous decision, held that a birth certificate does not link the holder of the information on the certificate. Hence, it cannot be used as a form of identification which qualifies a person to be registered on the Ghana Voters Register. We'll go into more details.
Well, let me give you a reaction to that. The NDC MP for South Dai, we heard him on City Breakfast News this morning. He's described the ruling as shallow. Now, as you read, the court, in a document detailing his full judgment on the reason to dismiss the NDC's case, explains that birth certificate does not establish the identity of the bearer. Mr. Dafiam Ekpo, who is also a member of the Judicial Committee of Parliament, in an interview said the decision is wrong. He says he disagrees with the court and that the court construed identification to mean that you should have a photograph on a certain material to be identified, which is wrong. Nathan.
If you go to page 14 of the Chronicle, it says 2 policemen drowned in Odan River while chasing armed robbers. And the story says 2 policemen have drowned in a river at Moshikrom Kobro, a village near Jakobu in the Amansia Central District of the Ashanti region in the line of duty. Lance Corporal Stephen Treme and colleague Amadeus Kwesi Boateng, both of the Obuasi District Police Command, and 2 others identified as Sergeant Isaac Nyameche and James Ahiman were on Obuasi Dunkwa Highway patrol duty and were said to be responding to a distress call that some small-scale miners had been attacked by armed robbers and proceeded to the scene. They reportedly hired a canoe across the Odan River to the site where the robbery attack was said to have happened, but the robbers escaped upon seeing them. So, according to a police source, on their way back, the canoe in which they were capsized. The 2 sergeants managed to swim ashore, while the 2 lance corporals, together with their service rifles, drowned.
Let me go to the GBC story. 2 stories. Upon Nkrumah says GBC has not been asked to shut down channels. This is the information minister. CitiNewsroom.com. Minister for Information Kojo Upon Nkrumah says the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation has not been asked to close down any of its channels. According to him, the state broadcaster has been informed by only one of his transmission platforms that it has been allocated only 3 slots to host his channels. He was speaking on a breakfast show yesterday. Said the decision by the managers of the platform to allocate 3 slots to GBC does not amount to an order to shut down any channels, especially since GBC has other platforms it is transmitting all of its 6 channels on. Meanwhile, Tarzan says SLS directive is an oppression of the media. A former CEO of the VRA and founder of Radio I, Dr. Charles Rekubobi, says the directive from the Ministry of Communication to the GBC to reduce its channels is tantamount to oppression of media freedom. He's speaking to Citi News. Dr. Rekubobi said the order contravenes the law, and then he quotes Article 167C, which says the National Media Commission shall shield all state media agencies from interference from government. The Minister of Communications is a member of the government, and the GBC is a state-owned media. If you actually ask people to reduce, you can interpret that as interference. And the word reduce is what the information minister is contesting. Godfred, I'm back to you.
Okay, let me give you some big news that is not that is in sports.
Kudus.
Yes. So Ghana's Mohamed Kudus has joined Dutch champions Ajax Amsterdam for the next 5 years. The deal was completed yesterday, so expect to see him in the Champions League. The deal is set to be worth around 9 million euros. Kudus is 19. He scored 12 goals in 25 appearances for his Danish club Nordsjælland.
I have bad news for you. It's not as if I wanted to do it, but if you go to my job online, the economy will slide downwards for 2 to 3 years before picking up. Guess who's talking?
Who?
Finance Minister.
Oh, he's been saying it.
Ken Ofori-Atta says Ghana's economy will suffer a downward slide for about 2 to 3 years as the government tries to rebuild the economy. Speaking on Joy News' PM Express, the Finance Minister said, quote, I had indicated what I termed trapezoid recovery, which means sort of the plummeting impact of the 6.8 to the 0.9% and the slow slide potentially downward for 2 to 3 years before we pick up again. His comment followed the novel coronavirus dire impacts on Ghana's economy, as many businesses have had to shut down in order to mitigate the spread of the virus. You know, we've been talking about COVID without looking at the impact on businesses. Now, earlier in April, the minister had bemoaned the country losing more than $1 billion of revenue as a result of the government's attempts to deal with the pandemic. The central bank had also expressed fears that the pandemic will collapse growth in the economy to 2.5%. Now, the minister says the government's strong efforts to revive the economy might pay off eventually in the coming years. Look at the choice of words. Might pay off eventually in the coming years should bolder steps be taken. Well, he's addressing Parliament next week in the midterm budget. We look forward to hearing what else he has to say. Let me take you to Nigeria. There's a story that I found quite interesting. The story is on the Premium Times. Nigeria refines its own gold, starts stockpiling reserves. Now, pay attention to this one. Nigeria has for the first time refined its own gold and purchased the refined product in a new gold reserve. On Thursday, the Central Bank of Nigeria presented a check of 268 million naira for the country's first artisanally mined and refined gold. The check was presented to the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative on Thursday at the launch of the gold purchase program in Abuja. The 12.5 kilogram gold bar was processed and refined according to the London Bullion Market Association standard required for the use of gold as a reserve instrument by the Central Bank of Nigeria. The president launched this program, which is a comprehensive artisanal and small-scale gold mining development program in 2019 to foster the formalization and integration of artisanal gold mining activities in Nigeria's legal, economic, and institutional framework.
Now, let me tell you about a project that has stalled that could add 1,000 megawatts of power. So that story is on page 3 of the BNFT, a 1,000 megawatt wind power project which has secured all the technical permits from the relevant government and district agencies, has stalled due to government's decision to put a freeze on discussions and issuance of licenses for new IPPs, that's independent power producers, including renewables that are cheaper and more environmentally friendly. Despite the project, which has secured $2 billion in capital for construction and production, and is ready to sell power at 8 cents per kilowatt hour to the ECG, a price that is the cheapest when compared to other IPPs in Ghana. Government is yet to greenlight the project due to its commitment to expensive fossil-fueled projects.
Let me end with India and Brazil. This is BBC. India passes 1 million virus cases as Brazil hits 2 million. There have been more than 1 million confirmed cases in India. The total in both countries has doubled in less than a month. Despite an increase in daily infections, the death rate in Brazil is largely flat, but in India, the number of people dying with COVID-19 each day is increasing. In the US, the daily total of new cases hits another record. And then with infections rising, Japan is now recording more daily cases than Italy. The UK, US, and Canada also have accused Russian spies of targeting vaccine researchers. Globally, 13.8 million cases with 589,000 deaths. Let's stay alert. Let's stay safe. That was the newspaper review. Coming up next.